Hello,
And welcome to our podcast, Wine with
Shelly.
and Shelley.
We are two women passionate about supporting those affected by cancer. Our businesses are dedicated to providing resources and community for people navigating this challenging journey.
Whether you're a cancer survivor, caregiver, or just looking for information, we've got you covered.
On this podcast, we'll be diving into a wide range of topics from the latest research and treatments to practical tips for coping with the emotional and physical challenges of cancer.
We'll also be sharing inspiring stories, interviewing experts, and exploring the latest trends in cancer care.
Join us as we navigate this journey together.
Let's get started.
So, welcome back everyone to Wine with Shelly and Shelley. First of all, we do a little bit of updates. And so if anybody was wondering what is happening with Breathe Incorporated, well, we'll find out in just a minute. Michelle, tell us a little bit about some things that are happening with Breathe.
Oh, well, at the moment, it's been more of what's happening in my personal life. I have a bathroom being remodeled, and it has been a little bit more of a project, and I gave some leeway. I knew that it was going to be a little bit of a project, but I have to say I'm ready to have my life back. With that, those projects never quite go as planned. So it's taken a little bit of my focus to get this done. But we did, as far as Breathe, we are in the process of gearing up for our golf outing, which will be in June. So our second annual golf outing. So there's lots to be done in preparation for that and getting sponsorships. And last year we were so excited about the success of it, and we are excited to do it again this year.
And have higher numbers because we need to raise some funds to be able to help people financially, but then also with the emotional side of things and supporting them with what Breathe can do and what Sparkling Survivor can do. And that is, it's more than just, a person. It's more than just financial strain, but there's people there, there's families that are affected, and we can support anybody and everything with those things. So that's huge. Those funds really help us support people that can't afford the services, because Sparkling Survivor does go out and reach people. We can support people that can financially pay for it, but we also wanted to make sure that they could get all of our services and not have to worry about the financial strains. So yes, we help them. Well, you've had some people that we saved them having their home. So that was wonderful. There's been some really good progress there with helping with those financial devastations that can happen when they have a cancer diagnosis. And that's really exciting. So that golf outing has been huge.
It is. And it's also this time of year, we've had a lot of insurance companies pulling out of certain areas due to reimbursement rates. And of course, we have a new administration. So there's a lot of changes in the laws. And healthcare in general has been very turbulent. So I have been doing a lot of work with people who are underinsured or who lose their insurance, or who are now over the income limit for some of the government programs.
Right.
And so this time of year especially is challenging because that just adds an extra layer of stress to people. They're starting their treatment in the middle of their treatment, and now all of a sudden they have uncertainty about how is this going to get paid for.
Yes. So that's exciting to know that we're progressing. We had a great year, and we'll move forward to the next one and keep on hopefully having people find us and know that we want to help support people in a different way. This isn't just your regular cancer services. This is more. For Sparkling Survivor and myself, I'm accepting what I cannot change right now. If you haven't followed before, you know that I sold all my things for about a year, sold my house in last December, went on some travels for about 3 months, got back and realized you do a lot of waiting when you're trying to build. My husband's the main guy. He's the one that had the goal to build. And yet he has spent more time waiting for others. And it's testing his abilities to be patient, and mine as well, because we have a big goal to be able to utilize the space for some big picture things for Sparkling Survivor and Breathe Incorporated. So being patient is hard, but I've always acknowledged that it's not on our timeline. And so this is one of those moments where you just like embrace where you're at and just kind of roll with the punches. So that's where we're at. But I am excited to say that because I was selling my items about a year ago, there was a lady that I sold something to that sadly has a breast cancer diagnosis, and she remembers me talking about my business, and I lucked out and was able to grab a hold of her, give her a big hug as Sparkling Survivor and Breathe style right at the beginning of her diagnosis when that anxiety is sky high. And so I can't be more thankful that the universe, we often think that, you cross paths with people and you just have no idea how that will affect them. And sure enough, she reached out to me and we're working together and we're wrapping her with a big warm hug and really helping to alleviate some of the anxieties that she's having. So I am really, really excited about that. That is one of my high goals, is to try to land people in the beginning stages so we can get in their mind, because mindset going into that can really make or break the situation. So I am very, very excited to have sold some stuff and then landed the most beautiful soul. So, it's how it goes,
It is. I will say that we did have around this Christmas has been this past Christmas now. It's weird to say we're in 2026. That was just a couple of weeks ago. But it was a particularly hard time for several folks. And so we did have an applicant that we helped through Breathe, who, was really overdrawn at the bank and then had bills that were being auto drafted. And so car payment wouldn't have been made, no groceries, no gas money. And so we were able to take care of all of that. But more importantly, able to just help boost that person's spirits and let them know that there is hope and there is the other side, and they will get to the other side and they're not alone.
That's wonderful. And so, that leads me into this lovely lady that we have meeting with us today. There's always these chances where you cross paths with something or you read something on social media and you just never know who you're going to cross paths with, how you're going to find them. And I was just scrolling for just a moment and found an article. I think we lost Michelle. Hold on a minute. Pause, Sean, pause. We get you back?
I'm here. I thought you guys froze. I didn't know
your
what
face
happened.
was frozen like this.
Oh, great.
It's always at the best time.
Okay, we'll have them clip that part out. Oh, there we go. She did it.
It's even better. Even better this time.
Oh my God. That was okay. You were froze. Did you do that on purpose?
No.
Because you were froze like this.
My internet. So I hope we don't have problems with the whole podcast.
Okay, break time. So he'll have to cut that part out, or he can just include that just because it's funny, or little bits and pieces. Who cares? But speaking,
we've all done it.
I'm super big guy, so I can make all kinds of fun.
And speaking about running into people, I just happened to pop on Facebook one time. I don't do a lot of scrolling because I barely have time to sit, much less scroll on Facebook. But I happened upon this really amazing article, and it was in Love What Matters. And it struck me, and I thought, you know what? Another one of those things where I'm just going to reach out and see what happens. And boy, did I find a story. And I don't want to talk cancer right away. I want to get into who is this lovely, sweet soul. We have Kara here. And she's amazing. But before we even get into cancer, let's just talk about, who was Kara before a diagnosis? Like tell me a little bit about yourself before even a cancer diagnosis.
I'll give you the Cliff's Notes version. Grew up in the Midwest, so I'm a Midwest homie. Grew up in practically Canadian at this point in time. Moved to the Bay Area. Lived in the Bay Area for about 20 years, which is wild. I suggest it for everybody just to get out a little bit. Then moved down here to Arizona to be closer to my family. Single mom, teenage daughter at the time, just full-time work from home employee because of COVID. Very, very quiet, normal life. I spent a majority of my disposable income on plane tickets and concert tickets prior to COVID. Yeah, I mean, that's where all my money went. And then COVID hit, and it was like, I have nowhere to go. I have nothing I can do because the Bay Area was locked down so tightly.
Oh, so sure.
We were coming actually down here. We were spending, it was $100 round trip to fly back and forth from the Bay Area down here to the Phoenix area. And so I'd come down here and visit my family. And pretty quickly it was, okay, I think I'm going to move down here.
Love it. And we're jealous. We're jealous.
Absolutely.
COVID didn't cold.
70 degrees and sunny outside.
Oh, rub it in, sister.
But let's talk in July.
Yeah.
When it's 115.
Yeah, and then you're melting.
It's an unreal. It's not even enjoyable to go in the swimming pool at that point in time. It feels like
this is why you need to have 2 places, right? So
I mean, that's the way to hook it up. That's the way
to temperature all year.
She'll just have to come visit us in Wisconsin.
I'll just be the youngest snowbird around. It'll be perfect. So getting down here, closer to my family.
Nice.
My father's health was failing a bit, and we had 9 great months from when I got down here to when we lost Dad. So there was a little bit of okay, how do we move forward as a family?
Yeah.
Dad, and then cancer diagnosis. So kind of a lot in a short span of time.
Oh, absolutely.
What a great thing to be here when all of that happened.
Next to your family.
That way, mom's 8 miles that way. It's
nice.
It's
Very
awesome.
nice.
Yeah, you can't beat that, because if you would have been anywhere else, that support system would have been a lot less.
It
a lot
well,
harder.
The reality is my parents or my mom would have had to probably come to the Bay Area and live with me for that time. I mean, certainly during a lot of the treatment, you're not really able to drive yourself. You're not Benadryl that you pump into you. It probably isn't a good idea to drive yourself, I should say.
I call it Benadryl drunk for a reason. We have a good time as nurses. I'm telling you what, people get crazy with that stuff sometimes.
The first time that they push that stuff into my system, wow.
Well, then I'll walk into the infusion room and it's radio silent. And I'm like, oh, so you got out the Benadryl, huh?
Getting out that Benadryl coma going on.
Yes, taking a nap.
Prior to diagnosis was just a, kind of a normal life, having fun with friends and doing stuff with my kiddo and being close to my family and concerts and trips and all of the fun stuff.
Love it. Love it.
And then the diagnosis.
And then the diagnosis, which, so prior to, I've never broken a bone. I've had like 1 cavity. Stupid, healthy. And I knew the second I felt the lump, we had a problem. It wasn't, I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Let's buckle up.
I found your story being very similar to mine. I think it's very interesting that you kind of had the same kind of interesting tickle, because I too had that exact same thing. And then you went and scratched it and you're like, whoa,
what the heck is that? It was very, I could take my hand like this and I could feel it. And I thought,
crazy.
Okay, that's a problem. Went to see the doctor, and my very, very sweet primary care physician well, breasts are lumpy, bumpy things, and sometimes it's just a fibroid and da 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 da. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, no, this is a problem. And so, biopsy results. I mean, everything just goes so quickly, quickly. Pretty soon it's, okay, I have an oncology appointment with this oncologist, with this surgeon. And up until that point, I hadn't cried. I hadn't gotten upset. It was just, oh, okay, they're just going to the doctor and no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that visit that knocked the wind out of my sails pretty quickly. Because, of course, prior to that, my mom and I are on WebMD and we're diagnosing me.
Oh, God.
How well did you do?
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you pop on and make your own diagnosis off of the website?
Well, you and the rest of the world, I mean, we hop on there and we can all, I mean, granted, sometimes I think people are lucky that way. They can actually figure themselves out, but other times it could be more of a detriment.
We missed the mark a little bit. My primary care doctor told me what it was. She says, oh, it's invasive ductal carcinoma. So, okay, cool. So right away we're Googling and we're like, okay, maybe some radiation, maybe some surgery. No big deal. No big deal. We're early. We caught this quickly. It's fine. Everything's fine. We get in and we met with the surgeon first, which was interesting. Met with the surgeon and she was kind of dry. I don't want to say she didn't have a good bedside manner because she warmed up as we kind of went along.
Sure.
Very dry. Okay, well, she pulls out this 3D thing of tumors. She's like, and she points at the biggest one on the chart. She's like, this is where we're at. And we need you to, get in right away. And we've already got you booked for your first chemo round and you're going to be in treatment for a year and da 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 da. And at that point in time, and we were wearing masks in the clinic.
Oh, yeah.
So here I start hyperventilating. And pretty soon I'm gray and sweating and trying to hold it together. And I'm like, I'm just going to lay down. And my sweet mom started to cry.
Oh,
and that's what got me. That's what got me.
Because it does affect your family. It's not, I mean, yes, it's you, but like your loved ones just carry so much burden too. It's your mom.
Mom. If you're Midwestern, you say, Mom.
Yes.
Much more concerned about it. Especially we had just lost Dad. So
yes.
Here in fact, when I knew that there was a problem, I did not even tell my mom right away. I didn't tell her until I had the biopsy appointment scheduled and ready to go. And of course, she was upset about that part of it. But I don't really want to freak you out. And and then it was off to the races. It was it was chaos. It's okay. We need to do this, and we're going to have this, and then you're going to have this, and then it's this test, and then you got a chemo appointment this day, and a blood test, and a this, and this, and this. And I'm sitting there like, what? What are you talking about? A year? What do you mean a year? Oh, you're going to be in treatment for a full year. And when you hear that number, you just can't grasp what that means. What do you mean a year? I don't have a year for this.
It feels like forever.
I don't have this.
Well, and it's interesting because I try to step back and also remind my coworkers all the time that this person that's in front of us, this is the only time they've heard this word, they've experienced this. And we talk about things like, how many people have come through the office, but for you, like this is your one and only time. And we're talking to it like it's a casual thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which in some ways was helpful. When you're talking to the nurse, you're talking to the doctor, and they're just very, okay, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. It's a calm kind of, oh, okay, we're going to do this.
Right.
And, okay. The one thing that made me cry, though, is she says, well, you're going to lose your hair. And I don't know why it was that one thing, but that was the one thing. And then I started to cry. And it was the one time I cried about it. One time.
Isn't
Like,
it funny? I mean, everybody's got their thing, whatever it is that kind of trips them. And I think you do have to feel those emotions anyways. But what is it that triggers that specific thing is just so unique for everybody, you know? So it's interesting that you pointed out that like you weren't, and sometimes you're just the deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
Like kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna just go along and the doctors and nurses have your back.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of it.
Well, and I think too, a lack of experience in the medical world for me, you know, again, not really having dental work
Yes.
done. The worst I had was contacts, no broken bones, no
Right.
hospitalizations other than when I had a baby, and that was a breeze. That lack of experience with a medical situation,
Yeah.
you just kind of sit back like, okay, I guess we're doing this.
You're hitting on exactly why at Breathe, we have to provide financial assistance, because if someone's in financial need, you can't get beyond that to get to those other things.
Right.
But even more than anything, it's so important to help with healthcare navigation, because for people like you who they don't have a person in the healthcare system, they haven't had experience with the healthcare system, and it's just not an easy system to navigate.
No, and thankfully my sister's a nurse. She's been a nurse many, many years. She was able to help kind of decode some of the language. Otherwise, you know, some of the words that are being used, I'm sitting there going, I know legalese, I don't know, you know, medical terminology. So having somebody who could look at a document that my doctor gave me and say, oh no, you don't need this, or okay, this is what this means, this is what you need to do, and here's what's going to happen, and you're going to want to have a port done, so they're going to get, what the heck is a port, what are you talking about?
Right.
So having to kind of explain some of those things, even though she's not an oncology nurse, she knows.
Yeah.
She knows.
It helps to have any kind of medical background, because I was having a conversation with a doctor who had breast cancer, and she even shared, she goes, I still felt like I was out of my wheelhouse because it wasn't her specialty. So truly any medical professional is better than absolutely nothing, because at least they can dumb down some of the language, because it's like another language that we use, which I think is very unfortunate, because it gives people lack of the ability to have the right questions. So that they always finally say, oh, do you have any questions? You're like, I don't even know what to ask. Like, I have no idea what my questions are, because I don't even know what you just said. Or so it is, you are lucky that you had somebody in the medical world, because it does play a role in, at least you had somebody to like bounce something off of, instead of like just completely floating around going, I have no idea, I'm just going to do what I'm told. She was absolutely able to at least be some guidance for you, which is huge.
And she was the one who, rounds 1 and 2 weren't so bad. I ended up doing 6 total rounds of chemo, and it was a TCHP therapy. So carboplatin, Herceptin, Perjeta. I think it was round 3 that I couldn't sit up. I was so miserable, I could not sit up. And she was the one who said, it doesn't have to be this way. You have access to this symptom care clinic. Have you called them yet? No. Kara, why haven't you called them? I don't know. I'm not that bad. Kara, you can't even sit up. You are that bad.
But somebody's saying that that's not how you have to be. Absolutely.
Right. And
you were treated as
saying you don't have to be this miserable.
Yeah, and you were treated at a fairly decent sized facility that had some pretty amazing resources. And that is one blessing you definitely had, because there's a lot of small clinics that don't have nearly that kind of support. And it's not like it's their fault, because sometimes the small clinics are wonderful because they're super personable, and then they know you as like a human being. But then they have lack of resources when it comes to, like, I mean, you had a symptom care clinic. I mean, that is awesome. That's amazing. That's amazing. And it's something that's missing in a lot of areas.
It took me from, not being able to get out of bed, not even being able to sit up for extended periods of time, to I walk my dog every day. I clean my house every week. Grocery store. Concerts. Well, I went to 2 concerts when I was doing chemo rounds. Concerts. I mean,
Good for you.
You were living.
dinners. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we went to the Grand Canyon.
Love it.
Dinners. Having that type of access, you know, with MD Anderson is quite literally 4 or 5 miles away from here. And then having the person behind me kind of poking me saying, this is what it's for. Because being Midwestern, I don't want to bother anybody. Of course.
Yes.
She's like, no, this is what it's for. You don't need to be this
Absolutely.
miserable. You're not putting anybody out if you ask for this help. That was tough. That was
And I
tough.
also like that. I appreciate that you mentioned that asking for help is hard for a lot of people. Having the resources is huge. And sometimes even just not even knowing who to call, even if you have your triage nurse, that's better than not calling somebody. And oftentimes we'll say, give us a call, give us a call, give us a call. But it's that, you know, people don't do that. And that's where we kind of stand out, where we are reaching out. We're the ones kind of just checking in on you. Hey, we just want to check in on you, because sometimes that quick check-in, it opens up the, you know, like if somebody maybe was able to check in with you, you would have automatically been like, I feel like garbage.
Yeah, I can't sit up. I can't.
Yeah.
Well, and you don't know, again, not having any medical issues before, I didn't know where that line was.
Sure.
There's that line of, I need some help with this. Where does that exist?
Uh-huh.
In my head, you know, we have this old school view of people with cancer and chemo and you're sick and that's normal. So in my head, I'm like, no, this is what it's supposed to be.
Right.
My sister.
Yeah, and people don't know that it can be way different than that. And they just anticipate, you might have just thought, well, this is normal. This is how I'm going to feel. But we've come so far. We've come so far, thankfully.
Those additional services. So I would go back, you know, I would do a chemo round on Thursday and I'd go back to the clinic Monday for additional fluids and long-acting anti-nausea meds.
Sure.
It changed the whole game for me. I mean, it took me from, again, not being able to even walk from the couch to the kitchen without having to, you know, kind of hold on to walls.
Yep.
To, oh, I'm going to walk my dog.
Yep.
I'm going to go to the grocery store, or I'm going to clean half of my house today, and have a little bit more control of my life during that.
Absolutely. You were able to live around it instead of it taking you and accepting it. You became a warrior, not a victim to it. At that moment, you know, when that crash happened, you kind of said, okay. And your sister was a big piece of that, knowing the medical part and really helping you learn how to advocate for yourself and make sure to do the right reach outs. That is huge. And you were definitely a lucky lady for having her for that part of things. For sure. For sure.
I always tell anyone who says to me, it's so hard for me to ask for help. I don't like to accept help. I'm always the one giving help. And I say, well, how does that make you feel when you give help? And it feels great.
Break time.
I thumbs up, yes.
Wait, hold on.
So people always say it feels good to help. And I say, well, if you don't allow people to help you, then you're denying them of that ability to feel that good that you feel when you help other people.
Yep, I've mentioned that to people before, especially in the beginning. You know, accept the gifts given, because it's going to be a weird feeling, especially for women. I think we just take on a lot of roles, from being moms to sisters to daughters to wives to, you know, whatever our jobs are. And so when you switch gears and you became a patient, like all the different gifts that people want to do, because they can't take away that you're going through this scenario, but accepting that they want to do a little something, whether it's a little meal, or like your sister, she felt probably great knowing that she could help you navigate that a little bit, or somebody making a meal, or just these little things, and switching gears and accepting the gifts given.
And taking your pride maybe and putting it to the side a little bit, you know, as a single mom for years and years and years, and being extremely independent and go-getter, and I can do anything and I can do it on my own and I don't need your help.
Yep. It's a big old check, huh?
To the side a little bit. And my sweet mother, constantly wanting to come over and clean my house, and I wouldn't let her. No, you can't come. I can clean my own house. Like a toddler. I do it myself. And I did finally let her come over and clean all of my blinds. I have behind me these wood blinds. It's very dusty here in Arizona. So letting my mom come over with a bucket and hot water, and as I lay on the couch, just not feeling well, she's zipping around listening to who is it? The Patsy Cline.
Oh, nice.
Patsy Cline in her earbuds and cleaning my blinds. She felt useful because really, what else can she do? I don't want to eat anything. Mm-hmm. My house doesn't really need cleaning. It is clean. The dog is fine. There's groceries in the fridge. I have a teenager. She doesn't really need a lot of, hands-on mothering at that point in time. What can people actually do that's helpful? Mm-hmm. That's a tough one. Because everybody wants to help. What do you need? Mm-hmm. I don't know what I need.
That's half the battle, is figuring out what they need. They don't even know what they need. And so we don't
know. And sometimes what I needed was for everybody to stop asking me. In the beginning, your body's not used to the drugs, right? You get that chemo brain where you can't focus on anything. It's hard to have a conversation. I had a hard time. I love to read. In those first couple of rounds, I couldn't read a book. I couldn't page through a magazine. It was hard even watching a movie that I'd never seen before because I couldn't focus on it long enough. Mm-hmm. So then you have all of these people who are, what do you need? How can I help you? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? Mm-hmm. And that was really, really tricky. And I felt bad that I couldn't give that answer. I couldn't, whatever. But since then, anybody who has had a close personal friend, family, relative that has been diagnosed, they will call me and they will ask me, what can I do for this person? How can I help them? What do they need? And so now I have a couple of tips and tricks. And we talked about, Michelle, you spoke about insurance and things changing and out-of-pocket costs. And one of the first things I say is, do they have a GoFundMe? And if they do, contribute to it and give it to every single person that you know. Because the financial strain, the financial impact. I am 3 years out and I am just now getting back on my feet. The amount of money that this costs is gross.
It is absolutely disgusting.
It is. But unfortunately we have to do it.
Yeah.
It is at a cost well worth paying. I'm totally fine now. I ran 3 miles on my treadmill this morning. I am completely fine now, but it came at a financial cost. So if the person you want to help is not able to eat a big meal, they don't need things, they don't need the GoFundMes, the any type of financial support. Sending a meal to the family also helpful. Because if you think about it, as women, we are usually the ones that are driving, the meals every day at the house. Although I'm lucky, I have a 50% partner there.
Same. I can't even complain, because if he heard this podcast, he goes, "She's lying if she said she's."
I have made it very clear. I have a grill master. I am just the side chick. That's all.
I love the eating part.
I'm the side chick. But finding those ways to help people, it can be tricky, because again, I don't want you to come and visit me for a couple of reasons. I can't hold a conversation, and my immune system is very vulnerable right now, so the visits might not be the best. Sending things to the house, sometimes it's hard to appreciate it, but meals for family, financial help, and to be honest, a handwritten card in the mail just saying you're thinking of me. Those were some of my most special things, and I kept that stack. I have a stack of all of the cards that people sent with just little handwritten notes on the inside, and I would reread them. And
just like a positive affirmation for you to hear from somebody who loves you.
Yeah.
Just to hear a positive note.
It's such about gas cards too, because you're always traveling back and forth. And so you can't
so
have
much time back and forth. One of my friends got me this bag at the very beginning that had all the pockets on the outside. Oh, I loved that bag. You got a pocket for your snacks. You got a pocket for a pen. You got a pocket for your water bottle. You got a pocket for this, that, etc. Well, then I also had to bring, freezer blocks to hold on to because of neuropathy. A bag for that type of stuff that you can put ice in. All of the things that you need when you're physically at this clinic I had a long go there. A lot of times they would put me into a room instead of a bay because I'd be there for 8 hours. So things like that for the actual day of experience. Super
Absolutely. Just to not have to, it's all in one place and they can carry it. That's actually one of my goals. I was having a conversation. I know somebody who makes custom bags. And I was like, let's have a little conversation because I would love nothing more than to have something like that where it's just got the little pockets or just to have that kind of a concept to say thank you. And it wouldn't be anything more than just like a thank you gift to people that I'm working with, just because why not? It just would be a nice gesture to be able to do as a small business that we do.
Something useful.
So your story is just so wonderful. And I love that you acknowledge that people don't really know what they need. And that's where, I have to be honest with you, Michelle and I really do strive to find, when you listen to people, you can hear in between the sentences and the words that they're saying. And oftentimes it's amazing when you're really actively listening that you can hear small little needs that the person doesn't even recognize that they need. And we really, I think that we're pretty strong in those areas. So I'm glad that you touched on that sometimes people just don't know what to do. And I love that you touched on the things that we can do for people. I think that's something that oftentimes people are reaching out, what can I do? And keep in mind that things are things. Depending on where somebody is in their cancer diagnosis, this is one struggle that I have noticed. Depending on where somebody is in their scenario, if they're going for, active treatment and they can be cured, a couple little tidbits like a bag that they can use that can be helpful is always beneficial. But if a lot of times you would know that somebody is not doing well and you're bringing people blankets. I had that happen to a pancreatic client and it frustrated her and she was so thankful. But I could feel her frustration because I'm like, but guys, she's dying. Like, what are we doing as a whole system of people that we can't recognize that we're so uncomfortable with what we can do for somebody that we bring them blankets and socks and all these things? That's beautiful. But that's also where you can also start looking at different concepts of supporting people differently. Something like what Breathe and Sparkling Survivor do is just purchase a guide, purchase somebody who can actually help them be able to process this situation rather than a thing, because those things don't go with them.
Well, and who has the good questions to ask too.
Right.
We don't always know.
Absolutely.
Non-indoctrinated in the medical field, we don't know the question for us.
Right.
So getting the right questions from you guys to ask their friend, family member.
We've had multiple questions like that where I don't even know how to handle this. People they run away because they don't know how to handle that portion of things. So keeping that in mind, that things go so far, but we really have to understand that supporting people in a different way is important. And then I wanted to touch on something like GoFundMe. That is a great tool. Sometimes I've noticed with history of going to different fundraisers. I have been to fundraisers where they've raised $100,000 for one person. It was amazing and I loved it. But what about the unpopular people? What about the people that aren't connected to their entire
quieter in their lives, who might not be
Yeah. The who's who. And so that's where like I love that Breathe can reach out to those folks, and we don't care on, you know, what level of who you are, where we want to help you because you need that support, you need that hug. And so sometimes it's just knowing that there's outside resources and nonprofits such as Breathe Incorporated, where, you know, yeah, that money doesn't just go to, you know, a portion, all of that goes back. That goes back to those people, and keeping that in mind, that could be another potential where you can, the reach is a lot bigger and not just one person, where you could reach magnitudes of people, you know. So that was,
touch on, you know, a couple of really good points there, Shelley. And we have had that situation, and I've worked with more than one person who said, but who's going to come?
Right.
Who would want to, like, I'm just not that popular or that connected in my community, or I'm living in a new area. I haven't been here that long. I mean, there's lots and lots of different scenarios. You know, maybe they had a job transfer, you know, a military family. But what I tell them is, it's not about your popularity. It's also about the connections that Sparkling Survivor has made and Breathe Incorporated has made. We have a network of people, and we know who our go-tos are for different things. So we know if a need is X, we can go to certain people, and if it's something else, we can go to other people. And we have spent our entire careers, long before starting these two businesses, developing that network.
Yep.
And, you know, part of my role as a social worker for years and years is to stay 10 steps ahead of what the person even, they don't know what they need, but I have seen scenarios play out. And so I kind of know what the track is. And so I can start preparing people, and then we can start doing these things long before a situation becomes a crisis, because that is hard on everybody, right?
And even something as simple as giving a brief overview, looking at their insurance.
Yes.
A brief overview of, here's how it works, because that is something I did not have. I had no concept. Because again, not
another language
ever.
Right.
It is another language, and having somebody who can give a brief overview and say, okay, here's what it's going to be financially, we think. And so let's start planning for that. Let's start, you know, how are your finances? What are you going to need help with when you get to that critical crisis point? What do you do? We don't want you losing your house. We don't want you losing your vehicle. We don't want you having to give away a pet because you can't afford to feed it anymore.
You just made a commercial for Breathe Incorporated and Sparkling Survivor, because that is exactly what we say. First and foremost, this diagnosis should not be financially devastating.
No.
It should not be financially toxic. And then beyond that, we have to, you know, it's kind of, I always say Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yep.
You know, you hit that need first, and then you move on to, okay, but then you need to be supported emotionally, and you know, your family, the caregivers around you need to be supported. I worked a long time in hospice, and so what I found from my days in hospice is we don't like to talk about death and dying. We don't like to talk about the possibility of that. We don't like to face mortality. So even if we have a diagnosis where we're going to, you know, survive it, but still all of a sudden mortality is in your face and you're thinking about it, I would imagine. So a lot of times what I found is that family members, well-meaning family members, tiptoe around certain conversations. And then a lot of times the person also tiptoes because they're trying to protect the family and the family's trying to protect the person, and now nobody's having the conversation.
Yeah.
But guess what? They are with.
You gotta have the conversation.
They're professional.
Yeah.
You know, it could be hospice, it could be their social worker, it could be their nurse. It's maybe conversations they're having during their infusions.
Right.
But yes, like you said,
It's the one inevitable thing. We probably should have more conversations about it, but people are so scared to have those conversations. But, what do you think with your experience? Like, once you went through cancer, I don't think much of you changed because you were always, like you said, you loved your music, you loved all those. Do you think there was a takeaway that you really felt like, for me, I was thankful. I know that sounds cliche, but I was like, this made me like I felt like I was superhuman after that. What do you feel like you took away from that experience afterwards? Like, what do you?
So prior to, I kind of lived in a little bubble. I mean, other than, I had lost my father. It had my little house here, got my little swimming pool in the backyard. I have a great kid. I have a really good job. Today is 19 years at my job, by the way.
Ooh, congratulations.
I have all the things. I had all the things. The same thing, thankfulness. And I think I knew, right away in the beginning, okay, I'm going to be fine. And, putting all of my trust and my faith in the medical, world, and truly everything was fine. What I took away from it is a huge amount of compassion for others. I've always cared about other people. This is a different level of care. You see, social media has connected all of us. And I have a love-hate relationship with social media, especially during current times. But what I love about it, especially not living in my hometown anymore and having lived out of my hometown for almost 26 years, I love seeing my high school friends' pictures. I like seeing pictures of their kids and now their grandkids. Not that I'm that old.
They're aging towards that.
We marry young over there. When you see one of them going through a thing, or one of them posts, oh, hey, this is my, my child's kindergarten teacher is going through this, or whoever it might be.
Yep.
Whenever you see something like that, it's a different kind of gut punch. It's a little different. And immediately thinking, okay, how much money do I have in my checking account? What can I give? What can I do to help? And then sending a follow-up, maybe a few days later, a follow-up email or message or whatever it is. How are you doing? I saw your post the other day. Are you doing okay? Whether it's, again, a parent loss, a loss of anything, any type of a diagnosis, anything that is traumatic, huge amount of compassion. Now it hits a little bit differently. I think of those things differently. And you really only know if you know.
Right.
You really only know what it is and how traumatic it is when you have gone through it. It's one thing for maybe a sister or a mom or a parent to have gone through it, and you have exposure there.
Right.
When it's you yourself, you know how hard it's going to be.
Yeah.
Financially, emotionally, all of the things. So that was the big takeaway, is just caring a little bit more about people in a different way. And I'm really bummed that it took me that to get to that.
I don't know. I think it takes all of us events, right?
Yeah.
Things along the way mold and shape us our entire years. And so cancer just stands out a little bit more. But I bet if you look back, and there are so many touch points at which we change and we grow and we evolve.
Everything is a learning lesson.
Yeah, if we choose to. If we choose to.
At it as such. And it is. It was a huge learning lesson. And it was also a learning lesson in how our medical system works and how it's a little bit of a mess.
A little bit. You're very generous.
She's so nice.
And
it's not intentional. It's really, it's such a big thing that like you can't even be, you can't, how would you wrangle that and not have it be complicated?
It's very convoluted. And I'll tell you a quick little tidbit about when I was looking at the insurance and all of that, my doctor had said, you should probably call your insurance company and just let them know what's going on and get some information. So I call my insurance company. Right away, they say, oh yeah, that provider is not in network. So they're telling me that the place that I've chosen to do cancer treatment is not in network. Okay, hang up the phone, call my mom, crying. Mom, it's going to be, 2.5 times more money than we thought it was going to be because they're an out-of-network provider. What do we do? Call my regular doctor back. Hey, this provider's out of network. Do you have any other that you would recommend? She says, honey, if you were my family member, I would still want you to go there. And I went to MD Anderson, which is amazing. Okay, so as a family, we're going to do this. We're going to pay this money. It's going to be worth it. It's fine. I believe it was my second chemo infusion, because you go and they're like, okay, it's this much money. And you're like, okay, you're on the credit card.
Great. Cha-ching.
Yes.
And they call you the day before to tell you how much it's going to be to kind of soften the blow. And I didn't get a phone call the day before the second round.
Oh.
And I thought, okay, well, that's whatever. Maybe they didn't have time. Check in. And the very nice lady says, okay, have a seat. So, well, don't I have a fee due? She's like, oh, I don't have anything due for you. I said, no, you guys are out of network for me. I'm pretty sure I owe you a lot of money. And she says, hold on a second, get somebody on that, whatever department on the phone to and she's typing it. She's typing. She hangs up the phone. She says, oh, we're a network. I don't know who told you that. You've already met your out-of-pocket max. I start crying in the lobby.
But what a roller coaster ride that had to been, though, honestly. And I also commend you. I also commend you for, oftentimes, no matter what, like you went where you felt like was going to be the best for you. And oftentimes people do not realize that like it's worth it. For me, I went to an out-of-network surgeon because I did my own investigation. And I was like, okay, they said you're supposed to go to this doctor because this is what is in your network. And yet I wouldn't send my dog to that surgeon. So without that being, so like it was where you wanted to go. And, you did get some of the, because they are so well, they've got that put together very well, that it was a good thing for you. But then also that roller coaster of like, great, I'm going to have this financial strain, but you still did it. Yeah. No matter what the money was.
What a luxury to be able to still choose that.
You really, what a blessing. That's a blessing.
Luxury. I mean, it really was. And from the time we walked in the door there, we knew that that's where I needed to be. And my mom actually volunteers there. She's there on Thursdays. Wonderful. She pushes the lunch cart through the infusion center every Thursday.
We love our volunteers.
We do.
We've been so amazing.
My favorite volunteer, her name is Kathy. Her and my mom are besties now.
You become a family with the people who are treating you.
You do. I still see one of the infusion nurses over at the dog park on a regular basis. When I go, check in, I ask, oh, is my mom here? My mom is a celebrity over there now.
Oh, for sure. If she's a volunteer, it's huge.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It is. And the luxury to be able to choose your care, I know is not something that everybody gets.
No, but I definitely think that, when you are walking the path, I still encourage you to investigate, ask questions, and don't hesitate. For me, again, it was worth me being indebted for years, and I would do it again. Don't be scared to ask questions. They are working for you. You ask questions, you interview them as such. And don't be scared of that. They're no different than you. They're another human being that is doing their job. And if you don't feel right, I always tell people, listen, if you feel any kind of like, ooh, that doesn't feel right, run. Go see somebody else.
Too, Shelly, a fantastic provider of ours, a physician, tells all of his patients, like, you have a right to a second opinion. If you are ever given a hard time about that, if you are ever questioned about that,
here's your answer.
You fire that provider.
Run.
Here's your answer.
If they are confident in what they're doing, you're not questioning their authority.
Nope.
All you're doing is you're ensuring that you're giving yourself some confidence that what's being told to you and the treatment that's being proposed is the best option for you.
Yep.
So never be afraid to have a second opinion. And that's something that insurance companies, they do pay for. They don't usually fight that.
Yeah, I worked with the oncologist and I still got a second opinion. So, I mean, if you're going to feel awkward, I got to go look at this guy. But if you have a good doctor or surgeon, they wouldn't. And if they give you a hard time again, then you have to kind of question the situation. So it's just kind of the advocacy piece. And, it's important to do it. It's your health. It's your future. It's everything. So it is very important. And
I'm sorry, Shelley.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and people that you touched on chemo brain and how you couldn't read even a book, the thing you loved for your first 2 treatments. That is something that Breathe and Sparkling Survivor also does. If there are applications that need to be filled out, if there's a lot of paperwork, like we're going to take that over for you. You're just going to do the absolute bare minimum. A lot of times for me, it's just here, sign this application. I'll fill out the rest for you. Because we know that's not where you need to spend your time and energy, and it's too overwhelming. And how do you concentrate on it anyway?
You can't.
That's the answer.
You're just like, what, squirrel?
Yeah.
It's so important. And I'm glad that you touched on some of the important parts and you shared something that I think is going to connect with somebody that's experiencing all those feels. But I do, there's part of your story that I was like, okay, you know what, Kara, this is just, it's just one of those heartwarming vibes. And I'm like, this is part of the miracle of your story. Okay, I told you guys that the story is something else, but I was so enamored with your story because I'm sure it happens, but this sounds like a movie. It just sounds like a movie.
So silly.
No, it's lovely. Tell us about your story, that part of the story that I just feel like is a great closer to hearing you, knowing a little bit of your story, and not just about cancer, but just how about love story?
Yes, something we're going to tie a nice bow on it. So
there we go.
I'm such a sucker for romance.
Mark all the way over here. Single mom for years and years. And truth be told, single mom even when I was married. Just the way that the cookies crumble.
Sure. Intentionally
single for many, many years. Just raising my kiddo, doing my job, doing my thing. Moved down here and thought, it might be nice to do that little, dating thing. Dating at this age is weird. It is, how do you meet people when you work from home? How do you meet people when you're from home? How do you meet people when everybody you know is already married? Everybody that they know is already married. How do you meet people? So you do what the kids do. And you get on the little apps. I liken the apps to a TJ Maxx, which I love TJ Maxx. You have to sift through a lot of racks to find something good. You got to sift. You got multiple visits to the TJ Maxx. You got to sift through those racks. So long story short, I met Paul on one of the dating apps, and right away his little bio was so cute. A lot of the guys on dating apps don't actually fill out their bios. They think they're too cool for it. They're too cool. He actually had it filled out, had some information about himself. I'm like, oh, he's Midwestern. He's more on the liberal side of the political spectrum, which I like. He's, a dad. Okay, cool. So, you do the swiping thing. And
swipe to the left.
Yeah, you
swipe
do
to the right.
You do the swiping thing. But I did the one where he has to swipe on me too. So there's and then I did Bumble. So you have to be the woman has to be the one to reach out. So I did. I'm like, well, he's cute and he seems, not like a serial killer. Let's give it a shot.
And he's not a serial killer.
He's great. Super smart. And when I say smart, I mean intelligent. Very intelligent, very hardworking, loves his kids. He's got twin boys. They're 17 now. From Indiana, so Midwestern. all of the things. So we meet. Starts off very, very slow, which is nice because that's not how the online dating world works, right? It's very, very fast. It's a little uncomfortably too fast. Very, very slow. And then in the month of March of 2022, we both went on vacation. And so we didn't see each other for several weeks, but it was nonstop with the text messages. All day, every day, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So we get back and we went out of town together over the weekend of April 1st. And that was it. That was it for me. I'm like, okay, cool. We're done here. Like, we're done. Check. Done. That's April 1st, which we have as our anniversary now. June 3rd was diagnosis date. So
I mean, this is crazy. Like, you got the dream man, and then you said, "Whoa!"
And it was end of April, beginning of May when I found a lump, and I remember thinking to myself, "Are you kidding me?" Like, finally, I've got my house, I'm close to my family, my kiddo is doing great. I meet this amazing guy. Oh, you want cancer to go with that? Sure.
Here's
So
your cherry.
that was, yeah. So I texted him. I think I texted it to him that, hey, also, by the way,
Surprise!
I found a lump at a place you don't want to find a lump. He right away took the day of my biopsy off. And my mother, who he had met one time, he sat in the waiting room with my mom for an hour and just talked to her and kept her calm. And the whole time just was very nonchalant. He's like, it's going to be fine. I said, okay, well, you're getting out. Like, this is going to be really ugly. It's going to get really bad. Things are not going to be great. And he's just kind of like, what does that have to do with us? What are you telling me? And I believe he told me in so many words, I'm not going anywhere until you tell me to. Okay. And I just kind of kept thinking, what? And I believe there were 2 times where I kind of said to him, this is going to be bad. I wouldn't be upset if you chose now to walk away. I mean, this is going to be a year of our lives. And instead he moved in and helped take care of me. And so he's still here.
I just think that's just such a blessing and what a wonderful thing to be able to attribute to that journey. Like, he had the potential, you even said you can go, and yet he
would not have been
by your side.
It would not have been held against him. I mean, it was a lot, and he made every chemo round. What he would do is he would go to work in the morning. He works early. He'd go to work in the morning, and then he would come and take my mom out about halfway through. Every single one of them. Every single one.
Just a beautiful little love story, because
we would figure out, I would do chemo round on Thursday, and I would go every 3 weeks. And so we would figure out the Saturday that was the furthest away from that Thursday, and we'd go out to eat. We'd go do
that was your date night?
We did. A Peruvian restaurant we tried. We tried a couple of Mexican restaurants in the area. We went to the Grand Canyon. We went to a little town down south called Bisbee. I mean, we did all the things. We did all of the things during that time. And it was almost kind of strange afterwards. After we were done, I'm like, we don't have to plan around doctor's appointments anymore. We can go to dinner whenever we want. I feel fine all the time.
Yeah.
It's weird when you have that year where every facet of your life has to be scheduled and planned and accounted for. And now you're no longer under that umbrella. Like, we can do whatever we want now. This is kind of amazing. And so he and I have gone through, he lost his father.
Oh, okay.
With the whole, cancer thing. He lost a job somewhere in there. We kind of had this compressed life with everything in it. Everything.
You guys filled in a lot quickly, really.
We filled up. And so we're coming up on 4 years. April 1st will be a 4-year mark for us. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
Because that's what's real, right? Too much of dating these days. And like you said, it moves so fast, and it's everybody trying to show their best self, and they don't want, it's so fake. but when you can go through hard things together.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be gray and bald for, 6 months. Are you cool with that? In fact, the day I ended up having to shave my head because it was coming out in chunks. And that night, he doesn't remember this, but that night I woke up in the middle of the night and his hand was on my head and he was asleep. Like, okay, we're good. We're good. So, yeah. Yeah,
it was a blessing. I can't imagine somebody having to do any of that by themselves. So, it's always knowing that there's support out there. There's people out there that will care, if you don't have that, seek it out. But there is.
And what my mom being able to see somebody kind of swoop in and just take that head on. I mean, she adores him. She adores him.
Love it.
Yeah. And my kiddo too.
Yeah.
My kiddo, she is in her freshman year at ASU this year. So she just graduated from high school in May, and she got to speak as the class president. She got to do a little speech at the very beginning of graduation, and she gave him a little shout out. So yeah, it is
wonderful.
It's fairy tale-ish in between the chaos and the what's for dinner tonight and mountains of laundry and bills and a crazy dog, and we lost a dog together. I had a little dog when he and I first met, and we lost him in June. And
oh man,
so that was tough. But that was his dog too.
Yeah, and I love it. I think you're showing life before, during, and after, and that living is the most important piece of that. And I think that's a huge take home. Do you have any, like, if you had one more statement, just to leave somebody with one last statement, what do you think you would say to somebody that is going through it?
It's a bump in the road, and nobody has to do it alone. And whether that's a romantic partner that you have in your life, or a family member, or a friend, even if you think that your circle is tiny, somebody in your circle wants to be there for you. Find that person and take whatever they're offering. It is okay to ask for help. It's okay to take the help. It was a struggle for me, even having this wide network of people and family and friends. It was probably the biggest struggle, was to accept the help. So whether your circle is tiny, whether your circle is large, find your person that you can get that help from. And maybe that's the person that it funnels through. Maybe that's not the person who does all of the help, but who can organize it for you and funnel it for you so it's less chaotic.
Yep. That's a huge piece of advice that I think somebody could walk away from, and just accept the gifts given.
Yeah.
People want to help, even if they don't even know you. There's a lot of good out there, and there's a lot of people that really want to do things to help out where they can.
You were talking earlier about somebody who would show up for something like this. There are people who show up. They don't need to know you. They know what you're going through. People will show up.
Yep.
And we don't know the paths that people have walked. And so we don't know their experiences. And sometimes, they've been touched by cancer or an experience, and you may not know that, and they may not want to talk about it or share it. But what they can do is donate financially. They can, provide a service, or they can do other things. And it's beneficial for everyone.
Yep. Yeah, we thank you for coming on and sharing your story. I'm sure it'll find the right people and things that need to hear those words. And we look forward to touching base with you. If you ever want to get up to Wisconsin and take a visit, give us time, but we'll have a space for people to come visit at some point. So
I'm due for a visit up there.
It would be lovely because, get back to your roots and get a chance to go for a hike around here or what have you. But again, thank you for sharing your story. I think it'll impact somebody. And, no matter what, if you feel alone or you have somebody you don't even know what to do or help with, you can always reach out to Michelle or I. We're happy to be of assistance in one way, shape, or form. Because whether you have resources or don't, we help you find those resources and utilize those. And if they don't have resources, we help support in different ways. So
what you ladies are doing is really important.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again for coming on, and I look forward to staying connected and hearing more about updates and things like that, because I think people need to know that there is living before, during, and after cancer treatments. And so that is a final thought and reminder to people. I think that's huge. So
and that's what I always say too, is that, life keeps going. Just because you got a cancer diagnosis, life happens, and then you get a cancer diagnosis. So you still have to deal with life. And so when that gets to be overwhelming, call us, reach out. Even if you don't know what you need, that's what we're here for. To help you figure that out.
That's what people need.
Yes, I do. Well, thanks again. If anybody you can follow Wine with Shelly and Shelley. We are on a lot of all the platforms, but also Breathe Incorporated and Sparkling Survivor LLC. It helps to have people out there supporting us, even if it is just a like or a follow. It's just getting that information out there. It's people finding out that we exist, because that's part of the battle is to have small businesses that can support people in a different way and be found, and that they know that that's a resource, because there's so many resources out there. We want to make sure that you can be aware of, and we can help you find those. So thanks again for joining us, and we will see you. Here's to 2026. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on Wine with Shelly
and Shelley.
We appreciate your support and listening to our amazing guest stories. This podcast is brought to you by
an oncology survivor nurse
and an oncology social worker.
We both own organizations led by women who are making a real difference in the lives of cancer patients and their families. Breathe Incorporated and Sparkling Survivor LLC.
Remember, there are many ways to get involved and support the fight against cancer. You can donate to our organization, volunteer your time, or simply spread awareness about us.
And if you're interested in being a guest on our podcast to share your cancer journey, a caregiver story, or even your business's supportive services, please reach out.
We'll be back soon with another inspiring episode. In the meantime, be sure to check out our websites and follow us on social media.
And remember, together,
we can breathe
and become sparkling survivors.